You know, if you were to ask me what my favorite cartoon was as a kid, 9 times out of 10, I would definitely say Ed, Edd n Eddy. The other one time I would probably say Jimmy Neutron, but we're not here to talk about that. Does anybody remember Ed, Edd n Eddy's Boo Ha Ha? The special begins with Double D peacefully arranging fall leaves by color as he reads a book like a big fat nerd. Eventually, this dude has the entire sidewalk in front of the school covered with organized fall leaves. Out of nowhere, Eddy slams the front door right in Double D's face, making a few leaves fly all over the place, flattening Double D like a nerdy pancake. Eddy is pissing and moaning because, I don't know, the principal told him to fuck off or something. Then the really unique intro plays and the special really begins. Eddy and Double D go to Ed's house where they realize that this kid has been staying up all night watching horror movies, completely frying his brain. Double D unplugs the TV and Ed snaps out of his trance. Eddy reveals a map that he got from his shitty ass brother for a place called Spookyville, where there's candy as far as the eye can see. Double D calls bullshit on the map, but Eddy tells him to fuck off. That night, the boys are all dressed up and ready for trick-or-treating. Eddy is zombie Elvis, Ed is a Viking, and Double D is supposed to be like the bubonic plague, but looks more like a pile of vomit. Soon after, Ed encounters the Canker sisters and hallucinates that they are evil witches. He then runs away. We cut back to Eddy and Double D trying to find the first clue on the map. Ed spazzes out and tells them about the evil witches. Ed hallucinates Jimmy being some evil space alien, so naturally Ed beats this poor kid to a pulp with a stop sign. Double D is horrified while Eddy laughs his ass off, not realizing the severity of Ed's actions. Ed tosses Jimmy's candy to Eddy. Sarah finds Jimmy's mutilated body and is naturally extremely pissed at Ed. The mighty Viking hallucinates Sarah to be a vampire and defeats her with a literal stake. Seriously, one of the best jokes ever made. Then buries her alive. Double D is separated from his boys as he bumps into Naz. Ed and Eddy find Double D, and another hallucinogenic episode occurs as Ed believes that Naz is a really creepy and gross-looking Medusa. And I'm just gonna say this right now, my absolute favorite part about this special are the monsters. They just look so gross and so interesting. I'm surprised the animators never made a horror-themed TV show using this art style because it works really well. Anyway, Ed grabs one of those things that holds cement and completely wrecks her. The boys crash into an abandoned hearse, and Double D is completely and absolutely fed up with Ed's bullshit by this point. Honestly, I would have been done with him from the beginning of this episode. Double D explains to Eddy his theory on what's going on with Ed, but Eddy could seriously give less of a shit and shifts his attention back to the map. Double D and Eddy get egged in the face thanks to the wonderful Kevin, and Ed hallucinates that Kev is the Headless Horseman. A really awesome battle / chase proceeds, resulting in Ed destroying Kevin's bike. Another encounter happens, this time with Johnny as a giant spider. Ed gives Johnny all their stolen candy and directs them to go down a path. They meet up with Rolf and they all have a grand old time except for Ed, of course, who decides to attack the poor lad and his pig. Right after this, the gang meet up with an evil Frankenstein plank, but surprise surprise, it just ends up being the regular 2x4 piece of wood. The boys finally make it to Spookyville, but come to the realization that it's just the Cul-De-Sac. Eddy's shitty brother has done it again. An angry mob of the neighborhood kids come for the trio. Ed takes his boys away from the mob and throw them down a weird hole. I don't know where it came from. The children find them, but Ed wholeheartedly believes that he has vanquished all the monsters, so he's basically no help. The kids beat the hell out of Double D and Eddy, and the special ends with Ed having a hallucination of his buddies playing with flowers. What a cute happy ending! Here's to show you, ladies and gentlemen, too much spooky things can melt your brain and make you think that every person you meet is a monster. I honestly had a great time watching this episode. I could seriously watch this series over and over again and never get tired of it. Highly recommend this episode and series if you haven't seen it yet. Anyway, please leave a like and consider subscribing if you want to watch more content like this. Also, if you want to see more of me and like gaming videos, I'm in a group channel called Disorderly Conduct with two of my pals, John and Jeremy. There you'll find solo and collaborative videos, along with our podcast and movie commentary series. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.